table together.
It looks like a hedge. It might
Can't be bad.
It might be a bit much.
No, but see, it's posed artistically next to the duck. We're working on our whole set design here at the Todd and Erin morning stream because,
the duck right there.
you know, we want to be all cool and fashionable.
So Todd and Erin
it's
morning
not
stream,
really happening, but-
getpartdaily.com.
Yes.
I wanted to do something on Facebook because my laptop has got a power issue, so I'm using my little pad here, and it's really small.
It is a little petite. I've noticed that. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, and thanks for on Facebook. Thanks for sending in your family movies and stuff like that because we asked you to, and I dared you.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, send in anything you want. We just want to see what you're doing with it.
Dozens of you did, and we're going to start using those on the show.
That's so exciting.
Especially if they're embarrassing. If they're embarrassing, someone in your family got embarrassed, we're going to play it like 3 times.
All right. Thank you so much, by the way, for joining us on Facebook. If you're with us today on Facebook Live, you can do that on Todd and Erin or on Get Part Daily or Get Part Approved. And going to the Morning Mountain Cam, this is brought to you by Black Diamond Service Experts. Look at that. I mean, it's like this is how far down the haze has gotten from
It's
the smoke.
actually worse than that. We drove in down southbound on I-15. We couldn't see the Oakers.
It was really creepy. I mean, this, of course, is from the Brian Head Fire. They say right now it's at 4,900 acres.
49,000.
49,000 acres? Oh, my gosh.
10% contained. 1,400 firefighters are out there risking their skin.
Unfortunately, it's another really hot, dry day with wind, so I'm sure they're going to love that.
What they're thinking about, we were just talking about this, and some of the reports coming in is there's some heavy timber ahead, but a couple miles past that, it turns into a sagebrush.
Is that good or bad?
That's good because it gets through the big timber, burns, hits the plateau there, and they have a chance of really getting some work on it.
I can't even imagine. And you were a volunteer firefighter when you worked back in Maine.
Wait a minute. On the East Coast, you walk up to the fire in most cases.
Why?
Because it burns like the trees burn and everything, but mostly it's the subsoil is pine needles, forever for thousands and thousands of years, and it's only about 3.5 feet deep, and then underneath that it's all river rock.
Yeah.
So that's the foundation of Maine, and so the fire would burn like a cigarette. We called it duff, and it would just burn that edge and just keep going. And our job was to go in when it wasn't flaring and use a little hose and cut that off, fold it back into the fire, and then that would hold it.
That is such an interesting concept. That's
Scary
completely
thing.
different than here.
Yeah, totally different. And once in a while it flared up like that, which is scarier than you know what.
I can imagine, yeah.
But it had gone through, and we were up going through and looking for hot spots and all this stuff, and we were out in this group of trees, and the trees are about this far apart from each other, and everything's about 6 inches across. And my friend leans on a tree. Well, what we didn't realize at the time, and we learned this lesson, is the fire had come through and burned all the roots out. So the trees were just leaning on each other. Their branches were doing this, and it was funny because
was it like one of those movies where someone pushes a bookcase over and then it pushes the next one, like dominoes?
And they fell everywhere, and I thought it was hilarious because I didn't get hit.
Well, see, there you go.
So,
and I think that's the important thing here.
So anyway, that's what they're looking for today. The smoke in the valley, they think that it's going to start heading south. The wind is going to take it and take the smoke south again. So
man, let's hope
as you
so.
can see, yeah.
Well, I'm just actually hoping they can contain
It's
it.
worse than that. That looks kind of okay.
Like hazy and sort of nice.
But the air quality is crap.
Yeah, this is probably not the best day to spend.
It's a red.
All outside. Yeah, everything is red burn today. It's like, please don't even smoke. Don't do anything that would involve a flame in any possible way because they've got so many little fires they're trying to work on too.
All right, so something on Mars. That's one of the stories coming up.
Okay.
Extremely cool.
We'll tell you who the richest person in Utah is.
Right.
People who are going to hell.
Uh-huh.
There's a really good one in Kaysville.
People are living in coffins, and they're going to dig a famous guy up.
Well, this all sounds exciting.
Hang on one second. I got this thing on Facebook. Okay, backed by popular demand, it is the 50s pinup girl shirt.
I've noticed that you were wearing your dirty girl shirt. Would you like to... This, of course, see, this is the nice thing as a wife. Todd has crushes on women who are like pinup girls from the 40s and 50s. It's not like I have to watch him drool over anyone current, you know, and so I'm all okay with it. Oh my gosh, I'm going skiing in my skin-tight pants and my utterly adorable tight sweater.
All right, this one, where's... Can you see that one?
Ooh, I love the low cut look for the ski lift too.
You know.
It's so chilly out here. Oh my goodness.
See if I got one on the back.
The bear rug one is always epic. Oh no, the fishing girl.
Yeah, the fishing girl.
And the little cutoffs.
All right, so there you go. Popular request.
That's epic.
Because I'm known for fashion. I'm not. All right, why don't you cheer me up?
Tell me something good. This actually is wonderful. This is going to kill you. I'm sorry. Don't put the picture up yet. Let me just do this really quickly. There's a 23-year-old guy. He was at the Holyoke Shopping Mall in Massachusetts. And this picture was taken by Paula Picard. She was just shopping and looking around, and she noticed an elderly gentleman at the top of the electric staircase. And there's people behind him.
We'll call those escalators.
And there's people behind him, and they're getting kind of pissy, like, excuse me, move, excuse me, in that sort of pissy way that people get when, they don't care.
Jerks.
And this guy is very old, and he's really intimidated, and he's obviously really concerned about, when you've got this little arthritic body, you take the wrong step,
right,
and everything breaks. And so he's kind of like trying to get his hand on it, and he's scared.
And
so it's kind of getting a crowd, and this young man comes over. He's 23 years old, and he says, "Sir, can I help you?" And so literally he takes him by the arm and just sort of like, and he's this big, lurpy, gigantic 23-year-old, and sort of holds the man in his arms
and gets him
and
on.
helps him step on, and they ride down the escalator. Yes.
Yeah, let's see this.
Arm in arm. This is the most tender thing about this, and I wish we had the forward shot. This kid is total thug life. If you saw him on the street, you would cross the road. You would, because he's got all the crazy tattoos and that stern expression. And look at him holding the older gentleman's hand like, I'll just get you down. Everything's going to be good.
That's cool.
I'm sorry, but I'm in love with this picture.
Now the old guy's a gangsta.
Well, yeah, he's kind of gangster now. He's turning his cap a little more to the
That's
side.
right.
He's getting a little hipper. I don't know. Paula wrote something beautiful, though, when she posted it. She said, in about an hour, the evening news will air and we'll remember of division and race wars and political mudslinging, shootings, other heartaches. But today, violence, rage, age, politics, and other social lines were blurred, and one person simply helped another.
See? The way it should be.
I thought it was such a beautiful picture.
All right.
I don't know. I feel very tender towards the elderly. I don't think they get enough of our time and our love.
Right. We got to spend more time with that. Now, are there events going on we're going to talk about?
Free and fun along the Wasatch Front. This is our daily challenge to do something you haven't tried before, okay? Today, first of all, pins and needles. Have you ever done, this is actually really fun. It's basically talking about books and then knitting at the same time.
How do you turn the pages?
It's like the old school Friday night knitting club book. I'm sure all of us read it and cried during, like 10 years ago. But you bring all your stuff down, and if you don't know how to knit or crochet, they'll show you how. So just kind of bring your needles. I don't even remember anything I was taught when I was like 14.
Knit one, purl two.
Show off. But then you also, each week they discuss a new book, and it's so much fun. And then you get to check the book out and take it home.
Oh, nice.
Or you can, access it online. So
right.
It's just really, I love the idea of that.
They are looking for volunteers if you want to go down and turn the pages for them. That would be nice. Because it's impossible to do this.
That is not it.
Like that.
Also, there's a whole bunch of different reading programs going on right now along all the Wasatch Front, all the city and the county libraries.
Right.
One of the coolest ones about this is they have a teenage one, a child one, and a parent one. So basically, all three of you can kind of compete against each other. And as it happens, we have a 17-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Right.
And it's a really great way to kind of encourage each other to read, because I think about it, Zoe, I'm crazy about books, and I thought she'd pick it up naturally, but
Erin used to get in trouble for reading. Tell them the story when you were a kid.
I would get punished for reading too much because I would stay up too late and I'd be tired, and I would stay inside and read more, and I could actually walk everywhere reading and never fall over.
How can we dumb down our daughter?
I'm sure it was really
keep her
annoying.
From reading. That'll be great.
But if you want, just go check your local library. It's a really fun way to do this. There's all kinds of rewards and parties and games along the way. But it's a great way to see you read again, because I do most of my stuff online now, and I realize Zoe never really sees me. So why would she think it's important?
Right.
Because a screen is different than a book. It really is.
All right. So this last night?
Yeah, granny swatting.
First of all, we're just talking about the elderly and helping them down escalators. So we are not telling you to go swat a granny.
Well, this is part of a trend that started in L.A. and it's really irritating. But the Salt Lake City Police got a call last night saying, "I've just killed my parents, and I'm going to shoot myself." This is a fairly incendiary call, if you can imagine.
And then they hang up.
And so the police are frantic, and they're assembling a SWAT team, which takes like what, an hour to get all these guys and ammunition
Number
and
one, you have
body armor.
You
and,
have to get there. You to the station. You've got to change your gear. Maybe you have it at home. You put all your gear on. You go down to central location. You pile in to whatever you're going to use for transportation. Then you put on your stern-looking face, and then you arrive on the scene.
And they ask for help from 2 other authorities. So there's this crowd. Once they finally triangulate and they get the place, and they're in front of the house, and it's really quiet. This is early morning now, and they're like,
that's when it's the scariest.
This seems strange. And so they start calling family connected to this house and saying, do you know anything? Because this looks really weird, and we're about to do a flashbang grenade and slam through the door. And people said, that's my 96-year-old mother.
Troublemaker.
And they said, I don't
think she's...
My mom's not pranking anybody.
Right.
So somebody had managed to bogart her line, and they did a swatting. But it's like, so you have like, can you imagine waking up and being 96 years old, opening your door, and there's this massive line of like guys with rifles and ammunition and police cars and probably a helicopter circling, who knows?
Hi, everyone.
You're like, would you like to come in for tea?
I have doilies.
I mean, seriously.
That's amazing. But everything worked out. No one got killed, and everything was happy. And that's the first time in a very long time I've heard the word bogart. That's a good 20 years since I've heard the word.
Does anyone else use the phrase bogarting? Because I bet you do, right?
Well, it kind of goes back to...
Mention that on Facebook if you do, because I don't need that from Todd today.
Back to...
the criticism.
Cannabis thing, actually. All right, so...
Oh, I didn't know that either. Thank you. Mr. Pothead, that's great.
No, I read about it.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, let's go to Daisy. I think we both need a moment to hit each other. So Daisy's in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom today. It's brought to you by Robert J. DeVry. Offices in Sandy, St. George, and Salt Lake City. Go to robertdevry.com.
Stop that.
Executive Transportation. Marsh is ready to take you for an elegant night out or a trip to the airport by simply connecting at executiveutah.com. And all Utah Plumbing, Heating, and Air with 24-hour service and 100-degree temperatures. It's a good thing if you've got all of his information at allutahplumbing.com. Daisy, what's going on today?
Hello, everyone. While you guys fight in the other room, here's what's making headlines on GephartDaily.com. Utah advocates for legalizing medical marijuana have filed the initial paperwork needed to put the issue before the state's voters. The initiative specifies that marijuana would be available in topicals, oils, edibles, and vaping. It would also let people grow their own plants. Once the initial paperwork clears legal muster with the Lieutenant Governor's office, proponents of the measure will have to gather 113,000 signatures to get it on the 2018 ballot. The Brinehead fire has grown to 49,000 acres and remains the largest wildfire burning in the U.S. That acreage is about equivalent to about half the landmass of Salt Lake City. A second incident management team has been added to the operation to focus on the east side of the fire, and the original team will focus on the west side of the fire. Officials say there are now 13 helicopters, 39 engines, and 67 crews, with 1,427 personnel fighting the blaze. The last of 2 men who are being sought in the takeover-style armed robbery of a Quiznos sandwich shop is in custody. That suspect, identified by police as 33-year-old Matthew Dean Forrest, was arrested Monday. The robbery happened on June 20th when 2 men and a woman entered the shop at 1017 South and 4130 West. While the employees were trying to force their way into a back room, an employee inside drew a weapon and opened fire, shooting the female suspect in the neck. Forrest and another accomplice ran, leaving their wounded cohort behind. Police have yet to release her identity. And now a look at your Wasatch Front weather, where temps are expected to hover in the low 90s and upper 80s over the next few days. You can also expect a fair bit of haze thanks to the wildfires burning throughout the state. That's it for now. Stick around for news from Tinseltown overnight. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Todd and Erin, back to you.
Thank you, Daisy. I was actually thinking about Daisy because of the big thank you. Melissa just sent me over the new menu from Christopher's Prime Steakhouse. And they do those early specials.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have to go to bed like at, 7. So it's exciting for us. But they have amazing prices. They do true cod, fish and chips. I know she would love those. Beer battered cod, hand-cut fries, only $17. Korean blade steak, that's with mashed potatoes, kimchi, salad dessert, all of this, $27. They do some amazing deals. But the nice
I'm
thing,
hungry now.
I know, but we're doing the big thank you because we've been so appreciative of you coming over with us. And so it's dinner for 4, so you get to enjoy each other, catch up, talk to people you haven't seen forever. March takes you back and forth in one of his sweet Escalades from Executive Utah.
Nice.
No driving, no parking, no worries. And all you have to do to enter to win is just go on today's show, like our page, comment, share. Life is good. It's that simple. You can go to the Todd and Erin Facebook page or the Get Part Daily Facebook page or Get Part Approved. And we'll be drawing another winner on Friday.
All right, very cool. Thank you, by the way.
Speaking of lobster.
What?
Lobster.
What kind of lobster?
Someone tried to smuggle a lobster.
Okay, so what do you mean smuggle? What do you mean?
Okay, here's
like
the deal.
Where was the
Well,
lobster?
here's the deal. The TSA does not prohibit transporting lobsters. You can do this. You can do a live lobster through security.
Oh, in the box.
Yeah,
where
if
they
it's in a
pack it.
clear plastic spill-proof container.
Right. Okay.
But they were running luggage through the screener, and
Through the
they
scanner?
said, "Yeah." They said, "Stop that one." They unzip the case, and this is what they open up:
Holy.
A
What?
20-pound lobster
Lobster.
in someone's checked luggage. He had stuck it on top of his summer clothes and was attempting to smuggle the lobster.
Why is that wrong?
You're sticking a lobster in a suitcase.
And
What is wrong with you?
the upside of this is when he went through the scanner, they realized with the X-rays that he had no problems, internal injuries,
Well, that's good.
and no tumors.
Yeah, the spokesperson said the lobster cooperated quite nicely with the screening process. So that was nice.
And what happened to the lobster?
They took the lobster away. You can't take a 20-pound lobster in a suitcase.
Why?
Because you can't.
You can pork chops. You can put pork chops.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can. What are you?
It is a live creature. You don't zip a live creature into a suitcase.
What, are you going to take it home and set it free in the woods and they'll multiply and become an invasive species?
Is that possible?
No, it's not.
Oh, because that sounded really good for a minute.
Can I tell you a lobster story?
Yes, of course.
So, the career counselor at my high school, his name was Jim Coffin.
Once again, Todd was brought up in New England, so he
Right.
understands lobsters.
And he's, you go in there and he goes, "Well, Todd, I'm looking at your records. We're seeing an occupation you'd be good at, but let's talk about lobsters instead." So he lobsters during the summer with his sons up in Maine, and this is like before when people started shipping food items, right? And this is not common. So he takes these crates and he puts in seaweed and he puts the lobsters in, and he sent to Iowa 250 lobsters. 250 lobsters. And then all of a sudden he was saying, "Oh, that'll be a great thing." And then he said, "Where's the money?" He got a down payment, but he didn't get the rest of the money. So he ended up calling her. And she was way upset about this because she was just like, "Yeah, and I want my money back." And he goes, "Why do you want weren't they okay?" And she goes, "No, they were all dead. They were all green and stuff. They weren't red." And so he threw them out. They took them to the landfill and threw away 250 lobsters because they weren't red, because she's only seen them cooked in her entire life from Iowa. I know this is breaking your heart.
Part of
isn't
me
it?
just died. Part of me just died right now.
All right, so Appalachian Trail.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's an adventure thing, okay? The Appalachian Trail is 2,181 miles.
It's an epic, really, it's an epic journey. It's a lot of a challenge. It's a big challenge.
Only Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. And there's also another that's a rugged 2,181 miles. Only 1 in 4 hikers complete it
Wow.
because it's that hard. And once again, this is a story of old people making us look stupid and unbelievably lazy. He's 81.
81 and he's doing the Appalachian Trail?
Yeah, he's going to try to push for 18, 20 miles a day.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Well, you could do that, I think, on a flat surface, realistically.
That's when they say he gets to Virginia, he can do that.
Yeah, but Appalachia, that's rocky and unforgiving.
4 to 16.
Look at him. Look how cool he is.
Right?
That's cool.
He doesn't like sleeping in the shelters because by the time he gets there, usually full, so he camps out and stuff.
So wait a minute. Wait, he's homeless?
No, he's a hiker. He's
Oh, okay.
actually a public servant.
They have shelters?
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to understand the context. I'm like, so he's hiking just so he doesn't have to be homeless? No, just clarify.
Stop it. There can witnesses.
Not one of you will testify.
Okay, so no,
I'm going to take your hat off and hit you with it.
don't. They so basically they have small little shelters that they set up that you can use along the Appalachian Trail.
Okay.
Because if it's raining and snowing, it's so funny. He's telling his story. Now remember, he's 81, right?
Uh-huh.
He's 81 years old, and so he's telling this story to the reporter, and he gets a little off track. And he starts talking about how the fact that it was cold. He was on this pass and it was like really cold and stuff like that. And he finally got his tent set up, 35-mile-an-hour winds, gets his sleeping bag. And a lot of people, men, if you're 81 years old, a couple times a night you have to get up and pee.
Yeah.
Right? And he went into incredible detail about unzipping his sleeping bag, just rolling out the tent slightly, and he got off track, and he just keeps going, and he goes, well, I bring a bottle now to bed with me. And you're like, oh, okay, let's get back to the mountain stuff, please.
Yeah, that wholesome part where you're climbing
Right.
and seeing nature.
So only 1 in 4 complete this, and he's going to do it. Oh
81 years old.
Yeah, and just to make you feel even worse, he raised $22,000 for juvenile diabetes. And what are you doing today?
Yeah.
2,000 miles?
I was going to work on my cheese sandwich technique, but
Right.
it's probably not the same.
All right. So anyway, coming up, some of the stories. They're digging up a guy. And I can't believe this. And he's famous.
Also, people who are going to hell.
They're probably the same people.
Yeah, they're going to hell.
It's all coming up next.
Mm-hmm.
Todd and Erin's Morning Stream, brought to you by Black Diamond Experts. Electric, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. You'll be glad you called an expert. The law offices of Robert J. DeBry and Associates, with offices in Salt Lake City, Santee City, and St. George. Check them out at robertdebry.com. The Todd and Erin Morning Stream is actually available anytime at gephardtdaily.com. Just click on the Todd and Erin page.
That's what it looks like without smoke.
But you won't see any of that today.
Once again, if you're seeing the smoke, it's from the Brian Head Fire. Should clear out this afternoon.
Wind shifted, came down this way.
Come down from the north and push everything south, and ha 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 on them. All right.
I've been waiting for this one.
All right, someone's going to hell?
People who are going to hell.
Okay.
Every now and then we come across a story so appalling that you're like, you can't redeem yourself.
They're
at this
not going
point.
to ever go to heaven.
You're going straight down. It's like we're not even going to waste any time.
The express train.
There's a Kaysville man,
Okay.
37, Leland Christopher Bowers,
Okay.
was charged in 2nd District Court
There
with
he
a
is.
felony.
He looks fine.
See, he began communicating with a girl
Mm-hmm.
who went to his ward. And they had been talking about church, and she's like, and she's 17 years old.
Oh.
And she was like kind of bearing her testimony and being like, I really think you should come back to the ward. And I think you should be part of it
Ward.
again. Because it's, it's really great. And they were talking. And then he said, I'll tell you what, I'll come back to church if you send me a nude selfie. Now, to me, Leland, this seems counterproductive with the concept of returning to religion. Because traditionally, I think in most Judeo-Christian faiths, they don't suggest asking underage girls to send you naked selfies. It's just a thought that perhaps you were going about this the wrong way because you're going to hell. So, look at that face. What
is
What did I
wrong
do?
with people?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so sad.
Going to hell.
So sad about this.
Yeah.
The Swiss. What do you know the Swiss for? When you think
Cheese.
of Swiss?
Excellent chocolate.
Chocolate.
A fantastic economy.
Nazi.
They used to have all the Nazi gold. Yeah, you got that.
Probably don't want us saying that.
Yeah, well.
They're having a trouble. There's two major parties there, and it's the Swiss Socialist Party and the Youth Faction, and they are
The Youth Faction.
the
It sounds
Youth Faction,
ominous.
or JUSO. And so they're having this big council meetings and stuff to tackle this huge problem they're having with gentrification.
What is the problem? Because they don't want to gentrify?
No, So at swimming pools and
All right.
such, they're coming up with some codes and some rules so that everyone can enjoy themselves at the pool. You think there must be a very low crime rate because they're dealing with this instead, right? And so what they're concerned about is hipster food.
They're actually enacting legislation regarding hipster food. That's a hot dog.
It's hipster dogs. They
Are you kidding me?
No, well,
They're concerned about hot dogs.
it might not be fancy enough for hipster hot dogs, but basically what they're against is the fact that these hot dogs. Let's see, it's $9.50 in francs. So it'd be $9.75 in American. I did not do the math on this. I'm just making it sound like I did. Okay, so $10 for a hot dog. So hipster food is, I guess, anything that's expensive, because $10, that's like going to the.
For a hot dog, you can get those at 7-Eleven for like 50 cents, right?
Well, you get a pack for $1.
Well, I was thinking the ones on the little rotisserie.
And then you go to the ballpark, and they're $10, you know. But yeah, so the whole thing, they're talking about the food trucks, and they show, and the hot dog stands, and all the prices are going up, and they want to control that and go back to the cruddy cold hot dogs that they used to have and enjoy for a cheaper price.
Okay.
I can understand part of that, but why not give them a choice? They were talking about low-income people. Well, there are choices everywhere. And so
No, apparently the poor only want the hipster food.
next, skinny jeans. They'll go after that.
I like that actually.
I
would be.
think-
I'd stand behind that,
If they started with that,
especially on guys.
that.
There's not a man. There's Jared Leto's the one who started this from 30 Seconds to Mars, and
Whoa,
you
whoa.
owe the nation an
Stop.
apology.
From where?
Jared Leto, he's from the band 30 Seconds to Mars.
Right.
Tons of movies. He's the one who started that trend with the skinny jeans, and it's not a good look.
How do you put them on?
Not on anybody. Not on boys. It's not a good look for you.
How do you put them on?
You're supposed to lay down on your bed, and what you do is you just lay there and you sort of wiggle into him like a snake, shedding his skin, but in reverse. And so you get your legs and
Who
you
helped-
go each way. And then you have to arch your back really bad so that you can actually button them. But then they're on so tight so that someone has to actually pull you back off the bed.
And do you carry a wallet? Can you fit one in there? I don't. You lay on a bed to put on your pants. Is that a girl thing?
You don't remember helping me with my 7 for All Mankind jeans, and I was absolutely determined to get them back on after I had the twins?
Oh, right. The Vaseline and the crowbar.
No. You were just much more direct. I put my legs in, and you basically took the pants on either side and just sort of hoisted me up, and my feet left the floor and went.
I think we should keep our fantasy life to ourselves.
It was just like the skin on a hot dog. That probably didn't sound right.
No.
Not at all. Okay, we should
Science
probably move
time.
on to Mars rover.
Science time.
Okay.
Excuse me. 5 years ago, the Martian rover got to Mars.
Which was the most epic, confusing,
How did we get there?
high maintenance landing ever, and they did it all so perfectly.
Do you remember the landing? I'm too lazy to draw a picture of this, but basically this is what happens. The thing goes into orbit, the carrier thing goes into, these are not scientific terms. These go into orbit, then a coil cable lowers down the rover, and then a parachute comes out, and then angel food cake is put down to soften the blow. Let's go back to the picture.
Okay.
So this is the satellite still going around, high definition. If you look
Wow.
right in the center of that photo,
You're
and there's a
kidding me.
bluish dot, and that is the rover, and it's going up Mount Sharp, and it's just come from a sand duney area, and it's still going. And it's four-wheeling up that, and the orbiter came around with a high-intensity camera deal and got that shot of it still moving.
That's incredible.
Isn't that cool?
We're
Maybe
looking at the surface of Mars.
Mars.
I mean, right?
And then there's the thing we put there 5 years ago. And it's still moving. And by the way, if you look at that, that's no place to live. Just going to say it.
It does look a little rough.
Just going to say, I don't want to be there.
All right, what's this about the famous dead guy? Because this,
Oh
is,
my
this
God.
is the creepiest story.
Oh. And I don't know how people get away with this. Salvador Dali.
The famous surrealist painter?
Yes.
Okay.
And he did all this kind of strange work and cool stuff. Wasn't he the one where the clock is melting over the side of the table? Is that him?
I believe so.
I believe so. Anyway.
Very angular.
His mustache was famous. He's a modern artist. He did a lot of different crazy art, and it became very popular. And his work is really interesting. And anyway.
And he was crazy.
Yeah, he's dead.
Most of the best artists are.
He's dead. He died at the age of 86. There's a judge in Madrid who was listening to an argument from a woman who says she is the famous famous painter's daughter.
Oh, so this is another one of, hey, I'm really the kid of that really rich dead guy.
Exactly.
Okay.
So him and his wife, they didn't have any kids, and so this would be the only offspring of this.
That would be very, very lucrative for her.
Now the judge just ordered that they dig him up and test the They're going to do the DNA stuff. Again, someone says something and they dig him up.
Did she? You would think she'd have some sort of compelling arguments other than the random, hey, I'm pretty sure he's my dad.
He's worth where is it?
Oh, because I can't even imagine.
$335 million.
Oh.
$335 million.
I'd be willing to present the case just on principle, but I still think you would need probably some more compelling evidence.
Dig up the dude. 25% of that would go to her. That's what they're arguing anyway.
Wow.
I look just like him, minus the mustache, is what she said. So that's a good thing. How can you make a statement like that with no proof whatsoever, and the next thing you know, you're being dug up? And he's resting at the museum. He has a museum, obviously, in Spain.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let's get some shovels.
You think that you'd have to have something more compelling than I'm pretty sure he's my dad.
And
We look so close. I mean,
my bank account's so empty. It's that whole thing about digging people up that always has got me. You know, you go through and they find a guy, Cro-Magnon. You know, that's not Magnon. Anyway, some old cave guy, and they find his bones, so they dig him up, and then they go to Pompeii where the volcano comes through, and they dig him up. And then they're
preserved in the ash of the volcano.
Jump to the Civil War, and they find a guy and they dig him up.
I don't think they do that. They don't dig up the Civil War guys.
Well, my question is that at what point is it okay to dig up someone?
You know, this has been the constant argument that they've had.
Are people just sitting on their shovels, just sitting there waiting?
Well,
checking their watches. Can we dig them up now?
This is an argument that Indigenous people have had for
Exactly,
decades.
exactly.
Native Americans, also the Aboriginal Australians, and they're like, you get to dig up our bodies and the bones of our ancestors, which of course is precious to them, and this is part of their culture.
Right.
Well, it should be anyone's culture, and they're like, and you know, it's not even, it's still fresh. I mean, they're pulling out a poor body from 50 years ago.
Well,
and they're saying
longer than that.
There was actually a case that involved less than 50 years.
That's really gross.
But so the point is, they were saying you wouldn't do this to your ancestors, and it's true. I mean, if you think about digging up a 100-year-old body, that would be like my Nana. I mean, it's like,
oh my God.
Think about it. I mean, or your great grandmother.
It is.
And it's like, I'm digging up your great grandmother. How would that make you feel? You would be like, how violated would your family be? And see, the thing is, this guy's not even. I mean, not
82. He died at 82. So
yeah. So we're talking. And when did he pass away? What year?
I don't know. I don't have the date. Oh, on his way to her birth, 1956. No, I don't have it.
In 1989. I mean, that's in 1989 he died in Spain.
So that is like I mean, obviously they're not just digging him up; they're going to dig him up and then take a piece of him to do DNA. It just seems weird. Pick a celebrity. Go ahead.
He's still juicy. Well, he is.
What did you just say?
Decomposition.
Stop it.
Elvis, though, another good point.
Somebody could be eating right now.
Well, think of all the claims on Elvis. I mean, how many people have claimed Elvis is totally my dad?
Let's dig him up.
I mean,
and this guy's famous. I mean, it's And they say they can do this. Pick another one.
But I don't understand why
take
you
it.
wouldn't have to have more evidence that I'm pretty sure he's my dad.
Jerry Lee Lewis. I think he's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, you could just
The
do
killer?
that. And it's I don't know how long you should wait when it's okay. And obviously they're going to take this guy up. They're going to take the fingernail, oh God, or something, and they're going to put the lid back and they're going to tuck him away.
Can you imagine being the tech that has to swab that mouth?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Food for thought.
Oh, don't
All
say
right,
food.
let's move on. Black Diamond Experts. Look, here's the deal. They are Utah's award-winning electric plumbing, heating, and air conditioning service. There's a couple of reasons why. Number one, they have top customer reviews. Financing is available, which I've never heard of before. That's amazing. Licensed, bonded, and insured. So when you're opening the door and you've got little kids, you can be okay letting this person in because you know that they are completely trustworthy. And they have 24-hour emergency service. But here's the one that I like the best because I've totally had service people take advantage of me before, thinking, oh, she's a woman. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She won't. And I've hated that. But these guys are incredibly upfront. They go, before they even start the job, they'll go, look, this is what it's going to cost, just so you know. Are you okay with that? We have financing if you need it. And you're like, okay, great, I'm set. You don't get a nasty surprise at the end of it going, oh, surprise, we had done all these extra charges and sorry. No, it's not like that with them. So it's very simple. All you have to do is to contact them is go to blackdiamondexpert.com. Give them a call, get a quote. That's going to be what you pay.
All right, coming up next, the richest person in Utah. And I'll give you a clue. It's not us. That's coming up next.
And it's not John Huntsman.
No.
We'll tell you next.
We're brought to you this morning by Executive Transportation. Elegant service, professional style. Go to executiveutah.com. And All Utah Plumbing. Your home deserves the best. 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com. And also by Columbus Travel. If you go to columbusvacations.com, you can sign up for a weekly newsletter that always has great last-minute deals on hotels, airfare, cruises, and more. Did you know you can catch the Todd and Erin morning stream any time of the day or night on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and GephardtDaily.com?
All right, so according to Facebook, people want to know what's up with your voice.
Tell them I don't know either. I was just putting this up.
You tell them. They're right there.
Sorry, you guys. I have no clear idea other than it decided to leave. I was just fine when I woke up this morning.
Now,
I've
this
been
happened.
doing this weird cough
This has happened before.
repeatedly, but usually I get some warning. But apparently not.
All right, so hopefully it'll get better.
That'd be nice,
I'll
yeah.
take care of you.
It's kind of counterintuitive to try to work this way.
Yeah, it's just your voice.
Well, right now it's not bad. Right now it's sort of like at that one pack a day habit kind of voice.
That's
That's sort
true.
of raspy. It's not so bad.
Right, you shouldn't smoke.
Like the Katy Perry kind of rasp,
Don't
that
smoke.
lower.
Right.
Don't actually smoke.
And you know,
But it's just going to get worse.
when you got laryngitis and we just did radio, it was a major problem. But at least now you could pantomime. You know. If
That's
you're-
true. I could
if you're-
use signal flags like a semaphore.
Right.
That'd help.
Right. That's
Yeah.
we could get we could get a signing and but then you'd need to know.
She'd have to be
Never
a
mind.
psychic
All right.
sign.
So that's the answer about her voice.
Sorry. Okay, back to Richest Utah. I thought for sure, I totally thought it
Huntsman?
for sure it'd be Huntsman, right? John Huntsman?
Right.
Of course, they've founded most of the Huntsman Cancer Center. They do unimaginable amounts of money. He's not. Forbes recently released the list for the wealthiest people in every state.
Yeah.
This person has a $1.2 billion net worth. The kids in the family also have a fairly substantial chunk of money, but she, still even after distributing a lot of the cash,
She.
has a $1.2 billion chunk of money. She's on the Forbes 400 list at 395. Who do you think it is?
I don't know.
Gail Miller.
Oh.
Larry Miller's widow. Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, the wealth of car dealerships, that's the first thing that started them. And then he went, of course, into the Utah Jazz and then into all of the big theater complexes, which turned out to
Plus
be
a ton of other stuff.
one of the most lucrative things for them. But yeah,
Right.
Gail's, it's interesting. She barely just did something kind of interesting. She transferred the ownership of the Utah Jazz into a trust. It's a legacy trust in order to make sure that the franchise will stay here in Utah.
Oh, okay. So it won't. Although we did steal it from Louisiana,
We let them keep the name. I thought that was sporting.
just to stick it in their face. You know how much?
$1.2 billion.
She does a lot of good stuff, but you think with $1.2 billion she could pay better players to play for the Jazz?
I don't know him.
LeBron James. Let's get him on the team.
Don't know.
Let's get a bunch of guys on the team.
I don't know
the best
him.
person from every team could be a Utah Jazz player because we got $1.2 billion to work with. And that would be cool. And then we could give them their own dealerships like Stockton to Malone.
That worked out really well for them.
Yeah, it did.
Right?
John Stockton, Honda, whatever it is.
Stockton to Malone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bingo.
So anyway,
I thought that was amazing.
I'm probably going to get in trouble at some
I
point.
think it's given that we're both going to get in
Probably have
trouble.
me killed.
All right, I'll tell you. What's wrong with you today? Literally, you have no filter between the brain and the tongue.
It's
You're like my sister.
part of my charm.
All right, let's go to entertainment news with Daisy so I can slap him up the head.
Hey.
That is another
What's
threat.
with all
to-
I
I know.
the violent threats?
You're mindless today, and I'm violent. All right. Daisy's entertainment news is brought to you by Robert J. DeBry. If you've got an accident or an injury issue, you need to go to robertdebry.com to get help. Executive transportation, so you can schedule all of your trips in and out of the airport. He will be there for you. March, you can contact him at executiveutah.com. And Black Diamond Electric. These are the service experts at blackdiamondexpert.com. Daisy, what's going on?
Hello again, Todd and Erin, and I now have a fancy homemade breakfast on my right so I can read the entertainment news. Here's a look at headlines from Tinseltown overnight. The first 9 episodes of Fuller House Season 3 will be streaming September 22nd on Netflix, and the second run of Fuller House Season 3 is expected to air sometime in December. The September date marks the 30th anniversary of the premiere of the original Full House. And Susan Boyle, the singer who skyrocketed to fame in Britain's Got Talent back in 2009, was set upon by a gang of insult-hurling hoodlums outside her Scottish home. Witnesses say the unruly teens taunted the 59-year-old singer, calling her old and ugly. Boyle, who has a net worth of $40 million, was apparently nonplussed by the little heathens and went on with her multi-million-dollar day. And finally, yesterday, Paris Jackson paid tribute to late dad Michael Jackson on the 8th anniversary of his death. The 19-year-old aspiring actress said in an Instagram post Sunday that it feels like a lifetime has passed since the singer died at age 50 in 2009. Paris also remembered the pop star by getting a new tattoo in his honor Friday. She had the word Applehead, a term of endearment for Michael, inked in cursive on the top of her left foot. That's it for this edition of Tinseltown Headlines. Todd and Erin, back to you.
Thank you, Daisy. Do you know what bogarting is now? Daisy was part of the intensive conversation on Facebook about bogarting. So now you know.
You're going to tell them?
No, you're going to have to go on the Facebook page to see. There was quite an explanation today on Facebook Live.
It's in songs, too. We use it in songs.
This is true.
Yeah. Okay.
Bogarting. Coming up next.
Coming up next, I want to tell you about people who live in very small houses. You know the whole tiny house thing? Tiny, tiny, tiny houses in Hong Kong. It's coming up next.
Merit Medical. Why work for fast food wages when you can start at Merit for a whole lot more? Merit Medical. Great products, great people, a great company. Learn more at merit.com/careers. The law offices of Robert J. DeBry and Associates, with offices in Salt Lake City, Sandy City, and St. George. Check them out at robertdebry.com. The Todd and Erin morning stream is actually available anytime at gepharddaily.com. Just click on the Todd and Erin page.
Bruce Willis and Mia Jovovich.
Oh, yeah, that's
She
the
wore
one.
the cute
All right,
little
so,
orange outfit.
So I want to tell you about this deal going on in Hong Kong. They have a housing problem. It's a shortage. And over the last 10 years, they've developed a way that people can afford this. Now,
Hong Kong is a city that reminds me most of Blade Runner.
is
Do you
about
remember the
poor.
original Blade Runner? How everything was just rain and tiny, and all the little houses were all squished together, and there were tiny
Right.
little stalls.
Right, well, they have...
Very much so.
Here's a tiny stall for you.
Show.
And this is because of the housing shortage.
Oh, wow.
His knees are bent.
He can't even stand up straight in his own apartment?
No, you crawl in. And there's a toilet at the end of that room. Now, they used to be all caged.
This is the most bleak thing I think I've ever witnessed in my life.
As was pointed out to me, that looks like the inside of a toolbox in the back of a pickup truck with the diamond
Oh, yeah.
plate stuff. So here's the interesting thing. So look,
Oh, my good Lord.
right?
At least that one's got a sink and a toilet.
Well, let's give you some place to sit.
Yeah, really.
But he's eating well.
That's good.
All right, so the deal is that this is the way they are dealing with this, and this is cheap and sort of affordable because the economy is it's Hong Kong.
I think I'd rather live in my car, be more comfortable.
Well, the thing is that if you remember, I remember The Fifth Element with
Mia Jovovich and Bruce Willis.
right.
Oh, that's right. All their tiny little.
I'll purpose. And they climbed into those those little berths, like on a train when they went to their vacation, like that. And that actually is inspired by places in Japan, who, when the businessmen stay out late and woo and ignore their families, and they go crazy and they need a place to stay. They have little hotels that are like tubes.
Yeah, the modular hotels. They put a couple in New York City.
And you get in, you just slide your feet in first, and then you spend the night, and your wife gets mad at you, and then you get up and go to work the next day.
Man, I've got claustrophobia issues.
I know, it'd be like
I don't think I could sleep that way. I mean, because you'd be just staring up at the ceiling, which is right here, going, you're going to crush me.
And
the combined weight of all of those guys above me, all those sweaty businessmen in their sweaty suits are going to crush me.
So if you were married, you'd always be pregnant. Because you'd
nothing else to do.
Just be stacked the entire time. And so you'd have like 18 kids. God knows where they would sleep.
It's just like this is the place.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've all taken the tour, but if you haven't, as the little train goes by this row of tiny, tiny cabins, and literally you can't see the size of the studio, but it's
like
that.
It's like 25 feet by 15 feet.
Your terrifyingly cheerful tour guide on the train will tell you this is where Jebediah and Rosa, I can't remember their names, had raised their 7 children in a room that size. 7 children.
You made a mistake on that.
7 children.
16 children. They raised 7 of them in that cabin.
But they had 16 total.
16 total.
Don't come over for Sunday dinner, kids. Just go somewhere else.
Well, how would you even be intimate with 7 kids in a?
That's what the barn is for.
They didn't own a barn.
I'm not sure. I literally don't know where you'd get the 7 kids from, because seriously, it's like no one's getting privacy in that.
You could lock them outside.
That seems unkind when the snow is over your shoulders.
Depends how urgent things are. There's a breaking
Mom,
point.
can we come in?
No. Keep looking. There's some candy out there someplace.
All right, we better move on. We're getting in trouble here.
All right, so the Arizona, the heat, and it is hot. And you know what? One of my favorite things, I love weather, and I love watching the weather. Not the Weather Channel. That's for crazy people. But they're running out of colors for the map.
Look, how red they can make it?
Well, yeah, so you go blue is cold, right? And then you go red, and as you look, the gray area, they ran out of colors for how hot it can actually be, 120.
I think that's meant to be the ash that's indicating the color of your skin.
The burned people. So the computer had stored all these colors and stuff, and when it got above 120, it turned green.
That looks more like an ashy color, like
right.
what you're going to look like because you're on fire.
So they have like red and then a little darker red, little lighter red, little dark, and
a violent fuchsia.
And the whole state is red at this point.
Wow. Can you imagine?
Do you want to see something adorable?
Well, yeah, I think that's a given.
And don't do it yet. I'm going to tell you. Where's the zoo? I will tell you in a second. Anyway, there's a zoo in town. Not here. Okay, so anyway, Indiana. There's a zoo. And,
that was a smooth transition, baby.
I'm just doing my best. Okay.
Sorry,
it's not like you expect more from me. Right? I'm like your poor slow brother. Oh, isn't he adorable? Bless his heart. Indiana.
Okay.
Zoo. Pregnant woman. Tigers. That sounds a little scary. Could be a little scary. And she is looking through the glass. All right, let's show him the picture. She is looking through the glass.
Oh my gosh, that is so adorable.
Now what happens is she was sitting down with her back. Notice that she is pregnant. She was sitting down, facing away, and the tiger.
I can't blame you.
And the tiger slowly came up on her, not like stalking her, but he stopped like 6 feet away from the glass, and he had her head up in the air.
Pheromones, all the pregnancy pheromones flying through the
Even
air.
though it's like through like bulletproof glass.
Them tigers
And he
are smart.
stops and he approaches her, not in a scary way. And the friends who are filming this, they say, turn around. He turns around and the tiger starts rubbing against the glass like you're seeing. So she stands
Oh,
up
like he's touching the belly.
and she pulls her shirt back.
Oh
and
my
the
God.
tiger just runs his face against her stomach time and time again.
Oh, I'm dying right
In
now.
the most adorable fashion, by the way.
That is so adorable.
And then the people are all going, oh my gosh, the tiger's rubbing against your pregnant belly. I think that is the coolest thing.
Just the whole combination of that to me is so intense. It's got to be the pheromones, but for whatever reason, that totally attached him to her. But the way he's rubbing his cheek, I mean, that's like
And it was so kind and
that's
gentle.
the way you would do with your young. I mean,
there is a video on this, but it is just so touching.
that is so darling.
And that's the way we're going to end the show today, with something touching.
With adorable bellies.
I know we've talked about hitting each other, and I know we've talked about digging up dead people, but I think you get the gist of where we're going with this. So that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Don't forget to comment and share to win the Christopher's dinner.
Todd and Erin Daily
Thank you.
Stream on GetOurDaily.com. Lower your